Good evening and welcome to the second in our series of RL Action, and once again I'm delighted to say that we've beaten the weather, although it is very windy, and our thanks to everyone at the Odsal Stadium in Bradford for making that possible. They really have worked overtime this week to get the pitch playable. And what a match too, Bradford Northern against the leaders, Hull Kingston Rovers. And this is how the First Division Championship stood this morning. Hull Kingston 4 points in front of Bradford, who are in fourth place, of course having led the table earlier this season. And the big story, so far as Bradford are concerned, the return of hooker Brian Noble, number 9 there, who this morning successfully appealed against a two-match ban that was cut to 1, and of course being last week's international against France. So he plays in a team that includes 2 of last Sunday's heroes, Keith Mumby and Ellery Hanley, who played in the second half against France and was partly responsible for opening the game up in Great Britain's favour. Hull Kingston Rovers looking to equal the record number of consecutive victories in the First Division. As it stands, they've won 12 in a row. Their stars from the test success in Avignon, winger Gary Clark and loose forward David Hall, but sadly no David Watkinson at hooker. He broke a leg in France last week. Now let's enjoy the highlights of the first half. Commentators are David Oxley, the Secretary General of the Rugby League, and of course Keith Macklin.
Noble's the acting halfback. Graham Idle, the man who took the first burst. Noble a little nearer the post, just 6 or 7 yards away. Gratian holding off, going himself. Jeff Gratian.
Well, we've seen big Jeff Gratian do this dummy and turn around so often. There he goes, dummies to pass to Keith Mumby up in the line, burst out of the tackle, and that close to the line, nothing will stop him.
Steve Parrish has kicked 52 goals this season, scored in 19 of Bradford's 20 games. He's also scored 6 tries, so he's a useful acquisition. No. A miss by Steve Parrish, so the score's 4-0 to Bradford Northern. Gratian on try.
What a terrific try that was by Gratian. 12 minutes on now, Northern still in charge, partly as a result of Hull's poor handling.
Just a couple of yards from the Hull Kingston Rovers line. Gary Van Bellen, no, it bounced it loose. The momentum may have been lost on that one. Van Bellen wanted it, the long pass came out. Gratian getting rid of them, shrugging them off. Dummy sold, but didn't come off. Scrum half Robinson, but Northern still just 3 or 4 yards away from a second try. Second row forward, Idle. Hanley. Oh, that could be touchdown, easy. No, it looked a little too good to be true. He was offside. Just a little too good to be true. No try. Parrish was the touchdown.
Very intelligent play this by Ellery Hanley. The attackers run out of steam as the ball comes back from Graham Idle. Watch this intelligent hook kick. It's dangerous, it's hanging. And it's Steve Parrish who gets the touchdown, but adjudged offside.
So to the closing stages of the first half. Northern continuing to press forward, Hull still their own worst enemies.
He dropped it. And everybody's dropping it. Talk about the soap in the bath. Noble. Just seconds for Northern to go in for that second try, if they're going to do so. The hooter will be blowing fairly soon. It's Van Bellen. Time up on our watches. A short pass, but still Rovers hold, and there is the hooter, 4-0.
So a fast, enjoyable first half with a real feast of open rugby. Surprisingly though, only 1 try, that marvellous effort by Jeff Gratian, which really changed the shape of the match. 4-0 then at half-time to Bradford Northern. See the second half right after the break. Welcome back. Our match tonight between Bradford Northern and Hull Kingston Rovers finally balanced at half-time, just 4-0 to Northern. Enjoy the second half now with commentators David Oxley and Keith Macklin. We join it with 4 minutes gone with no further score.
Picked up by Smith. And that looks like could be Northern possession. It certainly is. Right centre only defender. Scrum. To feed, and Noble gets the strike. Mumby. Good elusive running by Mumby. He must have slipped 4 or 5 tackles then. And they're putting out the short one. Robinson, a nice dummy. Still going. From behind by Mike Smith. That's another good tackle by Smith. That time on Jazovic. Sheldon moving it out. Mumby again up in the line. Good tackling both sides. There's the kick on the 6th. Hanging in the wind. Good follow-up. And a good tackle. Inside the Rovers 25. Hogan. Nice short ball for Kelly. Into touch that one. Loosely thrown pass. Chris Rudd. That one fires out the long ball to Steve Parrish, but he was well covered. Touchdowns waving like mad. Probably a punch may have well been thrown, or the knees going in. Certainly it was a foul tackle, and it's a penalty to Bradford Northern. Parrish puts it into touch. Ken goes for certainty rather than ground. Northern, who lead 4-0, setting up another attack. Robinson to Van Bellen, hammering forward. No, will he try one of his little bursts when the acting half-back is in? Yes. So it's deep into the 25. A lot of moves being played. Hanley refuses to go down. Idle is acting halfback this time. And there's an attempted drop by Robinson. Again, it doesn't get off the ground. Well, it's 2 attempts at drop goals in this match. One by Hanley, one by Robinson. They both went about 18 inches high. Just over the 25-yard line, Rovers. They're having a lot of trouble breaking through this Bradford Northern defence. What a nice break by David Hall, but Kelly left it behind. It's possession for Bradford Northern again, and Rovers have given it away more times almost than they've kept it. Gratian keeping it moving. Hanley. And he goes again. Will-o'-the-wisp. Noble The number of times he does that, and the number of times defenders stand off and watch him go. Hanley's going himself! Hillary Hanley! Still going, they can't put him down! 5 yards away. Rovers having to get back in numbers. The last one. Northern a yard away. A kick through. And no, appeal for a penalty, but I don't think Rovers defenders could be expected to get out of the way. And it's a drop out from under the post. Looks as if Lydiot's having attention behind the line. The sub waiting to warm up. John Millington goes off, and that's interesting change because Roger Millward has sent on a back Steve Hartley for a forward John Millington. But it's Northern in possession. Still Northern going forward over the 25. Gary Van Bellen waiting for that burst. Noble acting half-back. Looking round. With Noble, that doesn't always mean a great deal, but this time he does part it. The second row ploughing in. And Sheldon. Steve Hartley. The last tackle of the 6. The up and under. Ooh, what a nasty one. Behind the post. It's right. Well, the man who caught it is buried by his teammates. But it's certainly a try. He looks like Jeff Grayson again. It's Jeff Grayson again.
Another good kick this by Andy Robinson, just where the defence doesn't like them. High, over the goal line, between the posts, and who's first there? It's that man, Jeff Grayson, bullocking in, getting the touchdown. Perfect anticipation, perfectly finished.
2 tries for Jeff Grayson. The man who's determined, despite all the odds of injury and loss of form, to fight his way back into the Great Britain team. That's 8-0. Steve Parish coming up to try to make it 10. And he does so. His 53rd goal of the season, Steve Parish. Well, this is a remarkable dampener for the league leaders, Hull Kingston Rovers, who scored 48 tries in their last 8 league games, haven't got across the line tonight. It's been Northern who've been calling the tune. Noble. Off he goes again. Well, that lifting of the suspension was a great mercy to Noble and a great favour to Bradford Northern. And Grayson at the moment playing like a man inspired. Hanley. Off the white shirts go after it. That's hanging badly. Very, very badly. 6 more now. There's Henley again, moving it. All Northern at the moment, they're rampant. That was Davis, this is Hanley. He wants to try himself. Idle. That's the 3rd try. Keith Mumby.
Watch here for the perfectly timed pass by number 7, Andy Robinson, the perfectly timed run by number 1, Keith Mumby. Beautifully done, simple but perfectly executed.
Keith Mumby, the Great Britain captain, that was his 4th try, and Steve Parish, if he lands this, will make it. What an incredible scoreline, 16-0 against the league leaders. Bradford Northerns turning on a TV spectacular for us tonight, and silencing the Hull Kingston Rovers fans just below us here. Steve Parish. Wide, but it's a handsome enough lead, 14 points to 0. Well, what can Rovers do? They've won 12 games on the trot. In the 1st division, they were looking for a record, but it looks a long way away at the moment. Mumby. Inside the Bradford Northern 25. They're playing like a team hungry for more points. No ball. Robinson for the kick. Hanley. Elliott feels it. Clark. Gary Clark hasn't had many chances to run, very fast winger, but the way's not been cleared for him. Kelly. Rovers badly needing a try to get back into this game, to give them a degree of momentum and hope. Crooks is throwing that out. Gordon Smith, Hartley. Hogan nicely inside. Kingston Rovers, an unusual formation. They've got 8 backs out there, with Hartley coming on as sub from Wellington. Nice short one. Hartley getting it on well. There's Dorahy. John Dorahy. Oh, he wanted someone inside, and again it's the case. Oh, he's in touch. John Dorahy was in touch. Well, Rovers showing a bit more life then, and interestingly it was Steve Hartley who was twice in that move. But Rovers have got to score at least 3 times to get in front. They trail by 14 points. They have a penalty, and it's about 12 yards from the northern line. That's Hall moving on to Mike Smith, who's bounced. Acting half-back Rudd. David Hall trying to get Hogan free, but Northern, of course, renowned for their tackling. That's a good change of direction. Oh, that inside pass wasn't picked up. It's Kelly who has to dive on it. Rudd acting half-back. Rovers keeping it moving. Gordon Smith couldn't find a way through. Rudd trying to do an open. It's the last one. Is it going to be the high kick? Or will they try a handling movement? David Hall, and it's lost. It's still on the move. Clark. The cross kick by Dorahy. Penalty to Northern. Always a temptation to follow up just a little too fast, and there's a bit of pushing going on there too. Midway through the second half, Bradford Northern 14, Hull Kingston Rovers 0. A scoreline no one would have laid any money on before the game. Parrish. Still time, of course, for Rovers to come back, but Northern's defence has been impregnable so far. Noble, Robinson, Van Vellen. Away goes Noble. Neat inside pass. Just around the halfway line. Robinson, Hanley. Davis acting half-back. The kick by Robinson. Lydiot. Oh, that hit him on the chest. Jaw and chest. And it must be a chance here. Yeah. Oh, that looked like a degree of selfishness there. Henley went himself, but there was a man outside him. Parrish might well have gone in if Hanley had parted, but still the chance is on. This is the last. And it's the handover. No, there's still one to go. So there's still a chance as Hanley goes once again. Gets out a neat pass. There's the kick. Parrish going for it. It bounces backwards and Rovers have it. But that was a close call. Rudd, the man with the ball. Rovers trying to slam away from their own line, but it's been Bradford Northern who've dominated this match. And the tackling absolutely fierce and firm. Kelly. And lost possession again. Away go Northern. So many, and that's a knock-on. Scrum forming on the Rovers 25. Penalty to Rovers. Well, a few words being exchanged. Nothing more than words. Grayson's certainly been pulled out. And Steve Crooks. Grayson and Steve Crooks. a bit of the pressure on Rovers, but they badly need some points on the board. Crooks. Rudd to Hall. Kelly. Hookers are really making ground tonight, and that's given Rovers a bit of momentum. Kelly. Missed out Hartley to Clark. Quarter now remaining. That's a good long pass. Still being kept moving, but knock on and a scrum. Hasn't been Rovers' best night. They're normally a brilliant attacking side. They haven't been able to get clear tonight. Robinson, penalty, offside. Quickly taken. Hanley, Pennant behind him. Robinson, inside to Van Bellen. Van Bellen pushing off 2 tackles. Inside again to Robinson, he's lost it. Gordon Smith was the man who picked it up. Rudd was tackled. Gordon Smith, crashed down. Noble. What a good all-round game he's having. That's all right. So 6 tackles. Davis. Van Bellen. Gratian. Well, he rather ran away from his support then by taking on that extra defender. Hanley was with him. Noble, Hanley and Robinson. Strong little halfback. Well stocked with halfbacks at Hartsall with Alan Redfern and Dean Carroll around. That's Noble. Noble almost slipped away. That's the high one. That's a little too deep. Drop out and up to the 25. Rovers in possession. Hogan. There's no way through. Very prone, well watched. As indeed of all the Hull Kingston Rovers played, they've just been able to slip away. A super break. It was Mike Smith who made that initial burst. Rudd, Smith, oh, interception, and he just couldn't. That was on from the moment the pass was made. Steve Parrish picking it up. Well, Rovers have made more handling errors tonight than I imagine in half a dozen games. Van Bellen. Robinson, Hanley. Mumby is up there as acting half-back. Gratian. Still going, Jeff Gratian. Northern rampant at the moment. The short kick, a couple offside there. The penalty awarded. So relief to a very much beleaguered Hull Kingston Rovers. Well, Rovers will stay top if they're beaten, but it can't have been good for their morale tonight, because they've definitely been second best against Northern, who of course have championship hopes themselves. That's all. What a knock on. So many have been in dangerous positions. 10 minutes remaining. 14-0 to Bradford Northern. And if they get another score now, that surely stitches it up. Jazovic, Noble, Hanley. Everyone wanting to come on the burst in this Northern side. That was Davis. Noble trying the short one and bouncing dead. Back to 25. Well, that's a defiant war cry from the Robins fans, singing the Red, Red Robin. Get up, get out of bed, they sing. That's Gordon Smith, Hartley, but Northern up very quickly into the tackle. Short kick for Mumby, but he took it so well. And he's broken over the halfway line. Well, the Robins fans defiant, almost cheerful. Side pass. Gratian again getting it away to Robinson. Still moving. Hanley. One-handed Graham Idle. Good running, got it out. Rovers ball, but all the forward surges have come from Northern. Rovers have had the sort of game they'll want to get out of their system. Gratian doing a spot of tackling too. 7 minutes remaining. Bradford Northern 14, Hull Kingston Rovers 0. Almost unbelievable that a side like Hull Kingston Rovers, with their attacking potential, have so far been nil. David Hall wanted to do something with that, but found no takers. Into touch, Gordon Smith. Scum. Mark Fleming comes on for Gary Van Bellen. Mark Fleming, very promising young player. Straighten up, says Jim Smith. Get round. Robinson gets it again. Hanley. Mumby changes direction with a nice side step. Oh, good running by Keith Mumby. Northern in full cry for a fourth try. Hanley again. Pennant acting half back. Dick Jazovic. Just 5 minutes remaining as Northern on the lookout for a try, which, even if it isn't clinched already, would surely do it. There's Grayson. He could have a hat-trick if he goes over. That's so close to the line. Noble kicked it. And the ball was kicked dead by a Rovers defender, so it'll be a drop out under the post. Which will, of course, enable Northern to come straight back again. Mumby. To the 25. 5 more tackles to go. What a neat dummy by Robinson. Noble backing up Jazovic. A little wriggle through himself, just a little further. All Northern at the moment. Inside pass to Sheldon. They're all round there for working of any one of 4 or 5 moves. Still being kept moving. Hanley going to the post himself. Going, and yet he was determined he'd get one before the night was out.
Watch Ellery Hanley here, number 6, so strong, so determined, props off his right foot, straightens up. Far too strong, far too determined for a tired and dispirited defence, and over by the post.
Ellery Hanley's 11th try of the season. And he's been looking for it throughout the whole of the second half. Steve Parish looking for his 3rd goal. If he lands it, it's 20 points to 0, and that's the score line you couldn't have dreamt of. But there it is. Steve Parish, his 55th goal of the season. Well, just for the last minute or so, Andy Robinson goes off, and Dean Carroll gets a run out. Just 2 minutes remaining. Bradford Northern 20, Hull Kingston Rovers 0. Inside the northern half. But they won't be worried. They know it's just a matter of playing out time with a lead like that. Lydia. Certainly unlucky 13 for Hull Kingston Rovers tonight. Rudd is acting halfback. Hall, Hartley, and Kelly. Crooks into the last minute, and that ball ran clear. Northern have it. Jeff Grayson is named man of the match. 2 tries. There's Henley again. Into the last half minute. Gratian celebrating his Man of the Match award. Could be his final gallop. He grinned while he waved his fist. That's a towering one, and Clark's underneath it. That's full time up on the watches. Just over the 25, but all this is academic. Valuable points. Now, can there be a consolation try? No. John Doherty went without it. Penalty to Hull Kingston Rovers. Dean Carroll. Illegal feeding. Doherty puts it into touch. Very close to Hooter. We're playing added time now. Crooks. There's the hooter. A comprehensive win, and the man of the match. 2 tries. He can afford to grin and smile and be generous. Jeff Gratian.
Yes, a thoroughly deserved victory by Bradford Northern, but really a very poor show indeed by Hull Kingston Rovers, who lost so much possession and the chance of equalling the record number of consecutive wins in the First Division. As Keith Macklin said, it really was a case of unlucky 13 for them. Well, after the game, John Helm spoke to the man of the match, who else but Bradford's Jeff Gratian.
Well, Jeff Gratian winning captain, you really can't have expected it to be as decisive as that.
No, top of the league that come with the tails up, they're going for the record this week, and we all knew we were going to be hard at Bradford, you know, top of the league, and we went out the first quarter of an hour and we tackled them out of the game, I thought.
I think yet again it's the tackling that's won the day for you, isn't it?
Well,
really?
it is, that's what it's all about, is tackling. If you don't tackle, you don't win. You could have scored, we could have won 4-0, and as it happened, we won more convincingly than that, but it's the tackling that won us it.
Now, you've got to be honest about the first try, Jeff. You looked a little bit surprised when you went over for
Well, I was. Me and Keith and Gary Van Billen, we've got a set move where Gary peels off and Keith comes through. But as I went to bob it up, it wasn't. Well, I didn't see him. He says he was there, but I didn't see him, and so I just happened to turn around, and there was a big gap. It's a good job we're only 5 yards.
And then in the second half, the try you got then, I certainly would have got in your way. We can have a look at it again now. It's the high kick from Robinson that causes the problem.
Yeah, he put it up, and I just followed the ball, kept my eye on the ball, and I think the full-back, I don't know if he took his eye off the ball, but it just bounced in me and collided with him, and it just dropped over the try line.
You make it sound very simple, but I think you were really home and dry from that moment on.
Well, we were. The second half, I don't think they got out to their own half. We tackled them out of the game. As you say, it's tackling what wins the game, and that's what Bradford do.
It was a very important night for you, this, because you've not won a game in 1984, have you? You've not won since about December.
Well, we haven't, but we've had a couple of hard matches, you know. We played Cass at home, which we drew 2 apiece, went to Hull. We didn't play up to par then, and we've had a couple of matches cancelled, and this was, if we didn't win tonight and win next week, I think we're out of the championship race, but winning tonight, we're battling with all of them.
Yes, the danger was if Rovers had beaten you, they'd have opened up a big gap.
Well, they would. I think they'd have gone 4 points clear, and it's a lot, you know, it's 4 points.
All right, on to the Cup next week now.
Well, that'll be hard, you know, Featherston's just coming back, they've won about 3 on the trot, so they won't be no easy meet.
But is it going to be your year, do you think, for League, Cup or both?
Well, I was satisfied with Wembley. I've been to 4 semi-finals and I've never been there. I might retire if I get to Wembley.
Jeff, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, John.
And a delighted Jeff Gratian talking there to John Helm. All right, let's see how Northern's win tonight affects the top of the First Division. Just to confirm what Jeff said, Hull Kr are still on top, but it's certainly opened the door for Widnes a little bit. Northern now 2 points behind the leaders and with the game in hand. Really, the championship is wide open and with double interest on Humberside. So, Let's see what's happening on Sunday. Will Hull be celebrating the championship at the end of this season? Oldham go to the Boulevard this weekend. Leeds go marching on. They're at Lee, for whom Rugby League's top point scorer John Woods has been impressing the selectors once again. Wigan against Warrington should be a bit tasty at Central Park. John Bevan was in try-scoring form for the Wires last week. His 198th in Rugby League. They're the clubs concerned with relegation. Wakefield against rapidly improving Featherstone, that'll be tough. Salford go to Knowsley Road. Saints coach Billy Benyon is delighted that Chris Arkwright's back after injury. We're a better side with him around, says Benyon.
Arkwright, can he make the line? Yes! And once again the Rovers defence just seemed to open up. Peter's inside ball to Arkwright.
Castleford are at home to Fulham. Bobby Beardmore's been impressive form for Cass. In the Challenge Cup, Widnes are back on the Wembley Trail. The 6 times winners are away to Carlisle. With Andy Gregory's future still uncertain, the trip to Cumbria could provide another opportunity for David Hume to show he's the ideal replacement at scrum half.
Their coach the line moves to Adams. Adams to Hume. Hume to himself. And in! A good try. The reserve half back and done it again.
So a lot to look forward to, and a fine selection in the second division as well. Barrow's Steve Herbert, who scored a try in each of the last 6 games, plays at Batley. Note the times there if you're planning a trip out on Sunday. Some interesting games in prospect, no question about that. Well, next week, RL action takes on a real international flavour. Highlights of last week's test match in Avignon between France and Great Britain, and interesting to measure the standard there against our other match, one of the greatest test upsets of all time when New Zealand beat Australia in Brisbane 6 months ago. Really sensational rugby from Lang Park. So join us next week at 11 o'clock, but for now, from all of us at a very jubilant Odsal Stadium in Bradford, it's a very good night to you all. Bye-bye.